America is not a democracy. That's not an opinion. It's a design choice. You were taught to believe that voting equals power, that your voice shapes the system. But the truth is quieter and far more uncomfortable. The United States calls itself a democracy, but legally, it never was. The American political system was not built for simple majority rule. In fact, a more accurate description is that it was built to control it. The founders, drawing from classical history, were deeply wary of what they called the tyranny of the majority. They feared that a pure, direct democracy could lead to impulsive, oppressive decisions, where the rights of minority groups could be easily trampled by a fleeting popular will. So they designed a system with checks, balances, and buffers, intentionally slowing down the process of translating popular desire into law. This brings us to a fundamental misunderstanding in modern civics. We are taught that voting is the ultimate expression of our power. And while voting certainly exists and is a crucial civic right and responsibility, it is not, in itself, power. It is a mechanism, a single tool in a much larger and more complex machine. True power, the ability to shape policy and direct the course of the nation, lives somewhere else. It resides in the institutions that interpret laws, in the economic forces that influence politicians, and in the very structure of the government itself. To understand this, we must be precise with our language. America is a constitutional republic. Let's break that down. Constitutional means the government is limited by a foundational document, a set of supreme laws that even a majority cannot easily change. Republic means we do not have a direct democracy. This means citizens don't rule directly. They don't vote on laws or policies themselves at the federal level. Instead, they select representatives through the act of voting. It is these elected officials who then enter the halls of government and make decisions for the populace. This indirect system is the very core of the American experiment, and it's where the distinction between voting and power becomes starkly clear. Those decisions are filtered, delayed, often overridden. The founders didn't hide this. They wrote it openly. They feared one thing above all else: the will of the majority. Democracy, to them, was dangerous, too emotional, too unstable, too easy to manipulate. So they built barriers: the Electoral College, the Senate, lifetime judges, layers of insulation between people and power. Consider the intricate architecture of modern governance. It's a system of immense power, but one whose foundational principles are often misunderstood. Many believe its primary purpose is the preservation of individual liberty, but a closer examination reveals a different, more complex objective. The system was designed not simply to protect freedom, but to protect the system itself from the unpredictable nature of direct popular will. It's a structure built on checks, balances, and layers of separation, intended to ensure stability and continuity, insulating core functions from the passions of the public. This creates a buffer between the people and the direct exercise of power. Think about the judiciary. You don't vote for Supreme Court justices. These individuals, who hold the power to interpret the Constitution and whose decisions can shape society for generations, are appointed. They serve lifetime terms, intentionally shielded from the electoral pressures that face other officials. Their authority is immense, yet it is granted through a process far removed from the ballot box. You don't vote on most federal laws. While you elect representatives, the journey from a bill to a law is a labyrinth of committees, amendments, and powerful special interests. Furthermore, a vast and influential body of rules comes from federal agencies, the administrative state. These regulations, which govern everything from the environment to the workplace, are crafted by unelected bureaucrats, not by popular vote. You don't vote on military actions. The decision to send troops into harm's way, to engage in conflicts that have profound global and personal consequences, rests with the executive branch. The constitutional power of Congress to declare war has often been sidestepped in the modern era, replaced by executive orders and authorizations that grant the president sweeping authority as commander-in-chief. You don't vote on economic policy. The Federal Reserve, an independent institution, controls the nation's monetary policy. Its appointed governors make decisions on interest rates that can trigger recessions or fuel growth, directly impacting your savings, your mortgage, and your job security. These critical economic levers are operated outside the direct control of the electorate. The judiciary, the bureaucracy, foreign policy, the economy, all of these fundamental pillars of the state shape your life with an inescapable and persistent force. And their influence is arguably far more direct and profound than any single election ever will be. Real power is unelected, unaccountable, and permanent. Elections still serve a purpose, not to transfer power, but to legitimize it. They create participation without control, engagement without authority. You are allowed to choose between options already approved. The system doesn't ask what you want. It asks what you'll accept. The system survives because it feels democratic. Flags. They are the most immediate and visceral symbols of national identity. Woven into the fabric of our collective consciousness, they represent unity, shared history, and the promise of a common future. They evoke powerful emotions, from pride to protest, serving as a shorthand for complex ideas about who we are and what we stand for. Debates. The theater of democracy, where ideas are meant to clash and the best arguments prevail. We watch as candidates stand at podiums, framed as modern-day gladiators fighting for our vote. These televised spectacles are presented as the ultimate test of leadership and intellect, a crucial forum for public deliberation. Ballots. The sacred act of casting a vote. This is the tangible expression of individual will, the moment where each citizen is told they have an equal voice. The ballot box is the altar of democratic faith, the place where the people's power is supposedly made real. Symbols are powerful. They are the architecture of our political reality, shaping our perceptions and guiding our behavior. They provide a sense of order and legitimacy, creating a narrative that we can all participate in. As long as people believe they are represented, as long as the rituals of democracy are observed, they rarely question who actually decides. The illusion of participation can be more effective than any wall or guard. Control doesn't need force when belief does the work. When the population consents to the symbols, they implicitly consent to the power structure behind them, often without examining its true mechanics. America is not a democracy. It never was. At least, not in the way we are taught to imagine it. A government of the people, by the people, for the people. The founders themselves were wary of direct democracy, fearing the tyranny of the majority. It is a system designed to endure. A constitutional republic engineered for stability above all else. Its mechanisms, the Electoral College, the Senate, the very complexity of its laws, are designed to slow change, to filter the popular will through layers of representation and procedure, not to listen, not in real time. The structure is built to withstand the passions of the moment, to insulate the core functions of the state from the immediate demands of the public. It prioritizes persistence over responsiveness. And once you see that, Once you understand the design is not for responsiveness, but for resilience, the entire political landscape shifts. You start asking different questions. Not, who should I vote for? But, what is the purpose of my vote? Not, is the system broken? But, is the system working exactly as it was designed?